I speak about the abuses I've survived because silence is the reason why they keep happening.
That's true.
Us being quiet about rape and child sexual abuse, us being quiet about economic abuse, us being quiet about, I even learned that there's another form of abuse called spiritual abuse. Do not take responsibility of what happened to you. Let that responsibility rest with the perpetrator. Danger of addressing a single issue. And FGM has been branded around the health effects of FGM, which is okay to bring it out because some women are really suffering because of the effects that came with going through FGM. But then we always forget the socioeconomic impact of FGM.
Hi everyone, my name is Valerie Loloju and I'm one half of the S2S podcast.
And my name is Godano Yussuf and I'm the second half of the S2S podcast. And
welcome back to the Sister to Sister podcast. What's up?
What's up?
Hi babe, how are you?
I'm doing well, you're well?
I'm well.
First of all, guys, if you're not subscribed,
Why are we here?
what's up?
Why are we here?
Please subscribe to our YouTube at our African Women Rights Advocate, but also all our social media handles at the Sister to Sister podcast on Instagram, on TikTok. We also are currently on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, YouTube, wherever you can get your
Anywhere.
Search Sister to Sister podcast and tune in. Like, follow, comment, all of the above. So how are you doing, baby?
I'm good. Why do I feel like a second option to this conversation?
I'm
I?
trying to pull people into this conversation.
It's okay, you're forgiven. How are
Working
you?
relationships.
How are you?
I'm doing okay. Yourself?
I'm doing well.
Alhamdulillah.
Mashallah.
The guest that we have today, guys,
You're not ready.
a phenomenal woman, a trailblazer, some might say.
Yes.
A
All
woman,
should say.
actually, all should say,
Yes.
a trailblazer. We have such a special guest, someone close to both our hearts, the funniest person that we know.
For sure. So allow me to introduce our guest for today. Her name is Seleyian Partoib. She said specifically mention my name in a pastoralist language. I have tried. Yes, so as I said, our guest for today is Seleyian Partoib. She is the founder and executive director of Murwa Girl Child Education Program, which is a non-profit organization working across pastoralistic communities in Narok, Samburu, Isiolo, Marsabit to promote girls' education, advance gender equality, and end harmful practices such as female genital mutilation. She is a trained social worker, an FGM survivor, and Seleyian turned her lived experience into a mission to empower girls through education, sexual reproductive health and rights, mentorship, and community advocacy. Since 2018, that guys, it's almost 10 years in the making. Her organization has reached more than 15,000 girls, helping them become informed, confident, resilient leaders. Seleyian is an End FGM ambassador. She is an international speaker, having spoken on multiple regional and global platforms on matters girls' education, urgency, and empowerment. Her motto is grassroots actions for global impact. She continues to champion community-led solutions that create lasting change for girls and women. Drum rolls. Welcome.
Thank you.
Sele. Told you
The
guys.
intro. I was like, are you talking about me or another Seleyian?
Who is that?
Kuna mwingine.
Who is that?
Who is that?
And
How many counties did you hear? Narok,
Samburu,
Samburu,
Isiolo, Marsabit.
Guys, we told you a trailblazer.
Definitely.
We cannot wait to jump in with you.
We do hope the bio did your work justice.
It did.
Yes.
Yeah.
So welcome to the podcast,
Thank
Seleyian.
you. Thank you.
Yes, this is your space, and we can't wait to hear all about the work that you have done at the community
Sure.
and that you continue to do at the community. I know there's other founders who are going to be listening to this particular podcast, and I know that your experience is definitely going to make the work that they're doing even make more sense.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just Seleyian, Val has eloquently explained your bio,
Yeah.
but I would like to know, and for our viewers also out there to just know, who is Seleyian?
And tell us something fun about yourself.
Okay, I'll try to top that bio.
Okay.
Or do better.
Yeah.
Seleyian is an indigenous pastoralist woman, born and raised in the pastoralist communities in Narok. I'm a mother, I'm an entrepreneur, a visionary leader, an artist. I wear many hats, but at the core of my identity is an indigenous pastoralist woman.
Wow.
Okay. I really
We need to start also saying we're indigenous
Yes.
pastoralist women. Yeah.
I really like the
Yeah,
emphasis
please.
on indigenous woman.
Woman.
Why?
Because when you ask any woman, who are you? They always start by what they do. I am the founder. I am the wife of. I am the mother of. But my identity is who I am and not what I do. So I was born in the indigenous community, so I'm not a girl anymore, so I'm an indigenous woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
They said some women introduce themselves with who they are married to. Guys,
Their children, Mama.
my name is...
Or who they work
Yeah.
for.
yes. Yeah.
Oh, that's such an innovative way to introduce yourself, because
Yes.
you take the ownership back to what you want to identify as. What has your heart? Let me just jump in.
Yes.
I know you are indigenous. What has your heart?
Girls run my world for real.
Who runs the world?
Girls do.
Girls.
Yeah,
Yes.
girls
Beyonce
run my
alikuwa
world.
anaambia Seleyian hivyo.
Yes.
I think I contracted her to do that
Yeah.
song for me.
Happy birthday, Beyonce.
Real though, yeah.
Uh-huh. So girls have your heart.
Yes, girls. You
Why?
should just see me when I walk around and I see a girl, young, older. I'm just smiling. Because for me, girls are just the beauty. They bring beauty into our lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And I do agree, because girls are really at the center of the fight that we are currently in. And they're just not beneficiaries. They're not just victims. They have the capability of taking the power and steering their lives in a certain way,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And we can't wait to hear all about that. So, I'm jumping quite deep, right? So, Seleyian, you founded Murua Girls.
Yeah.
Yes, so in short, we call it Murua
Yeah,
Girls.
it's Murwa Girls.
Yes. So you founded Murwa Girls. And you were in the deeps of it, like, guys, I'm a founder, I'm an executive director. And then shortly afterwards, you went back to employment. What happened?
Great.
You had said bye to the 9 to 5, and then, I don't know, was it a year or two later, you said, okay, I unfortunately have to go back to employment. Could you-
Vitu grounds ilikuwa different.
Things are very different.
Things were different.
Yeah.
Could you tell us about that
Yeah,
journey?
so the story of Murwa Girls, I started in 2015. That's when we began activities. But we actually got registered in 2018. So that's why you will hear us saying 2015, 2018.
Yeah.
So between 2015 and 2018, I had savings. I had moved back home to live with my mom to cut down the costs of life. I had my daughter with me, so we went back to a smaller school in Narok town. My bills were manageable, but after 3 years of running, I found myself, my account has run dry, there's no income, grants have not started coming in yet. And of course, because we were not registered, so it was a bit difficult to fundraise. So one day I'm seated and I'm thinking, are we going to survive? I don't have school fees. My mom is asking me, when are you moving out, you know? When are you finding a house? Because I told her, this is temporary. Temporary, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Now this is the 4th year. And so you could see that she was now becoming worried. You know, mothers get worried when they feel like your life is stuck. So I saw an advert on the papers for a youth coordinator position, which I was overqualified for actually.
Yeah.
And I just applied because anything was better than nothing.
Yeah.
In the plot twist, it turned out that that's the role I actually needed to propel Murwa to the level it is today. So I went and worked in the Mara with an organization called the Mara Trust. And the director then, I think she's still the director today, Dr. Crystal,
Yes, she
took
is.
me under her mentorship. It wasn't planned. I just happened to work under her. We did a lot of proposal writing, a lot of fundraising. I would accompany her to meet potential donors. Without even knowing, I thought I'm just working to pay bills. But what was happening in the background was I was being mentored to know how an organization is actually run. And so that 1 year ended up being like a boot camp for me. Because when I came back in 2019 and started now rebuilding Murwa Girls, we've never gone back, we've never lacked funding. Every year we keep scaling up. We started with 1 project, went to 2. By this time we are doing this podcast, we've implemented 15 fully funded projects
Wow.
since 2018 to date.
We say clock it in this podcast. You said 15?
15 projects.
15
fully
projects?
funded, yes.
Oh, wow.
Across the counties.
In Narok, Kajiado, West and Samburu.
Ah. Wait, so when you say 15, so that is between, so when did you go to Mara Trust? Was it in 2018?
I joined Mara Trust in January 2018 and left in May 2019.
Ah.
Yeah.
So a full year.
A full year, yes.
So between 2019 and right now, you have been able to run 15 fully funded projects.
Yes.
And it's all, not all because, but you had a vision when you started Murwa Girls.
Yes, yes.
But things did not pan out the way that you wanted them to. Instead of losing hope, instead of saying, you know what, I'm not getting this funding, I'm going to quit this dream. You said, let me take a pause on this dream and get back to it after this number of months or this number of years.
Yeah.
Did you always know that you will go back to Murwa Girls?
Yes, actually, when I got the job, they wanted a permanent position, but I told them I'm here for 1 year. And the favor I'll do for that 1 year is I'll train someone to replace me when I'm gone. At first, they were hesitant, but then I'm very good at what I do working with girls.
Yeah.
So, and they really needed someone to work with the project that was dealing with girls at that time. So they agreed to the arrangement of a 1 year contract, hoping that I could renew. But when the 1 year came, now I started talking about going back to Murwa Girls.
Yeah.
Of course, they tried to hold on to me,
Yeah.
but we parted in good terms. We still partnered together to implement activities to date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so fascinating to me that you got someone, sometimes it's sheer luck, but you got someone to mentor you. Can you just dive a little bit into what that mentoring meant for you and Murwa Girls in the long run?
First of all, when you've started something, you've started building a business or an organization or your career, and then you have to press pause. The initial feelings are always disappointment or even hopelessness and despair. But one thing about me is that I bounce back very fast. Any setback I face, I really bounce back.
Yeah.
So when I went into Mara Trust, I didn't go there thinking, but I am a director in my own organization and now here I'm a youth coordinator. I just fit in, bonded with the staff, fit into my role. And they were quick to note that you're actually way above this role. So one thing she discovered was that I am good at proposal writing. And that was the door to her mentoring me. Because we'll be working on a proposal together, then she will tag me along to go talk to donors or visit different camps to ask for support.
Yeah.
What I didn't disclose during the interview, but now of course they already know, was that I didn't tell them I founded and I was running an NGO. I omitted that part of my CV just to get the job.
Yeah.
So when she later on discovered that, oh, you actually have this organization, she was impressed. I thought it will be a deal breaker and I will be fired for it. But she actually now intentionally mentored me to know how an organization is built. And I kept asking questions. I was curious to know what she's working on. I was curious to know what challenges she was dealing with when working with the team. I was curious to know how she engages donors, her speaking engagements, her research publications. And it's through working with her that I also ended up becoming a researcher. Yeah.
So is that a part of the bio that I missed about being a researcher?
A friend once called me saying I don't bring out that part of myself a lot. I don't talk much about my consulting work, which I do on the side running Murwa Girls. But I do research for organizations, baseline surveys, needs assessments, monitoring and evaluation. And I'm actually part of the team that developed a paper on the alternative rites of passage that ended up being published by Science Direct. So I am a published author.
Okay. Hey, the pressure just increased. I'm sorry, guys. No, but I think research is actually a really important part of the work, and I hope we will be able to even speak about its contribution to the work that we are doing even way later during this particular conversation.
No, for me, it's just, again, fascinating that I had mentioned luck, but this also puts into perspective that conversation of there is not always luck, it's opportunity meeting,
readiness.
preparedness.
Yes.
Yeah, because you're already prepared in like proposal writing. You had already created something that somebody was able to come and enhance, not necessarily start with you. It's just enhancement and ensuring that you're on the right track to using your skill adequately. And so it's so fascinating for me, but I will just want to know, was there guilt that surrounded that decision to leave Murwa at the time?
Yeah, if I can be totally honest and vulnerable,
Please.
I was battling depression during that period in 2018. Because when I left my job, I was working as a programs director for an organization based in Netherlands, but we were implementing in Kibra. So I'm coming from an international NGO. You know the pay is good, right?
Yes.
Very nice.
And then going down all the way to now no income, no salary, and I'm now at crossroads. It's either I get a job or I cannot sustain Murwa. I cannot even meet my own bills. So there was that feeling of, I think I have failed. And then when I was quitting my international job to go start Murwa Girls, I remember someone telling me, so you leave a well-paying NGO job to go start an NGO. Be careful not to become one of the women that will need helping. You think you're going to help women, but you might end up becoming a dependent or a beneficiary. And I think those are the words that were now ringing in my mind when I went back to my trust for a job. I was like, has this prophecy become true? Am I now a beneficiary? But then something in me knew that this is temporary. This is a stepping stone to the next level. And I went through those mental health challenges. I went for therapy. One thing I tell women and girls and everybody that is breathing and alive, just the way you treat malaria, treat your mental health like a disease that needs medical attention. So I did therapy through that year. And by 2019, when I felt I'm okay, now I could come back to start building Murwa.
We really, and we are so glad to still have you smiling and all. And we really wanted to start this conversation with that particular bit because, you know, sometimes when someone sees the Seleyian of now with the 15 fully funded projects, there might be an assumption that you have always been on this particular high horse from the beginning, right? And I know that people start foundations and they start organizations with a good intention, right? With the intention of helping. But these are real hurdles where you go for years without funding, but bills still need to be met because passion will not put food on the table, right? And that not all is lost. If you ever have to take a pause or if you ever have to rethink your path, you have not failed the community or the girls that you are working for, that everything is actually redeemable. If you're able to step back and think, this is where I am, this is where I'd like to be. But for now, we have to detour at this point. And I think Seleyian just tried to bring up that and Godano, that there is guilt in the community that you have quote unquote failed. there is guilt in and maybe even shame. I don't know if you'd agree with me that, hey, I had this, just like the person who said, you might become one of these women that, and I think that was very
out of pocket.
Yes, out of pocket for real.
Yeah.
So now we want to go just back a bit into Seleyian being a young girl and where all this work and dedication to girls came from. Yeah.
Maybe just before, did you have a nickname growing up?
Yes, but I'm not telling you.
I was trying to pull it out of her.
Nobody calls me by that nickname
Anymore?
It's only my late dad and my grandma. I think it went with them.
Oh, okay.
Was it something attached to your character?
No, it's actually a very sweet name that I choose to keep to myself.
Okay. At least we know it's a sweet name.
Yeah, it's a sweet name.
Yeah.
So maybe...
Yeah, so just tell us a little bit about you growing up.
Well, as an adult, I tell people I'm an introvert. But anyone who knew me as a kid is like, you're ni uongo.
You're lying.
I was a very talkative, bubbly kid. Inquisitive. I would ask questions that will leave adults embarrassed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I was very observant also. So my dad will fondly ask me, what do you want to be when you grow up? I'll be like, 1 month I want to be a pilot. Then I will read books and discover a new term, and then I want to be that. So I saw something scientist, so I told my dad, I want to be a scientist. And well, truth is I'm a social scientist.
Yes.
So that one did come
with
true.
Publications in Science Direct, etc., etc.
Yeah. And the closest
Published
to
author.
piloting, I have flight mode on my phone. So I've
been on flights.
and I've been on flight. So
That took me a minute to load.
I told you guys we
Yeah.
were about to have a good time and laugh.
But I grew up in a family, the pastoralist community. It's a normal family according to me. It's now looking back that I will piece things together and like, that was not normal.
Yeah.
That was not normal. But growing up, nothing seemed out of place. As a young girl, you grow up, you see women in the community dressed beautifully. Girls don't wear those colorful beads until you reach a certain level, and then now you can wear them. So I really looked forward to growing up and becoming a woman so that I can also look colorful and beautiful. Went to school. I was privileged to have an education. Both my parents were very passionate about education. My mom is a retired school teacher, and my late dad was a chief.
Okay.
So first of all, when you know a teacher as a mother and a chief as a dad, so discipline.
You toe the line.
Yes.
Yeah. But for them, education was not optional. It was a must. And both of them really went out of their way, not just to educate us and my siblings, but also to support children in the community.
Yeah.
The work I do actually follows on the footsteps of my dad. He really sponsored so many kids. I still meet people today to tell me, I went to school because your dad paid my school fees. Your dad helped me get enrollment into college. So I'm just following in his footsteps and keeping his legacy alive. Yeah. So my childhood was very colorful. I had a very wild imagination. I was severely punished for it because I would just zone off and go into my own world. I was a tomboy. I would climb trees to escape household chores because why are boys washing dishes? Why am I the only one? So if I really want to do it, I'll just go up on a tree with a book and escape into my own small world. Ukinitaka hata kama unataka kunichapa nifikie huko tu.
And you can't reach me, guys.
And most of the time when I come down, the welcoming will be a good beating. But then I will threaten to go back up. Some days my mom will just be like, kuja, sita kuchapa, shuka pole pole. Because the branch I'm sitting on is giving her a heart attack. She's like, it might break and she will fall. So that was my childhood.
A mother's love.
Yeah.
Did you grow up with a lot of boys? Do you have a lot of brothers?
No. On my mom's side, pastoralists are polygamous. So my mom has 1 son, my stepmom has 4. So yes, there were boys all around me.
Yeah. And when you look back at your childhood, as I know you've said that some of the work that you're currently doing with girls' education is building on the legacy of your dad.
Yeah.
So you said that you used to be an extrovert. Are you an introvert right now?
Yes.
What happened?
I don't know. Well, I know what happened. Something happened to me as a child.
Yeah.
I went through sexual assault at the age of 10. And that light was dimmed at that point. I didn't notice it, but my dad actually noticed.
Yeah.
So the girl who was bubbly, laughing, I will sit in a corner and be forgotten that I am there. They will serve food, and then they will ask, oh, now the nickname, Amekula. And then they'll find me just seated in a corner quietly. Yeah.
We're sorry for that, and thank you
It's
for
okay. And thank you for sharing that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And the work that you currently do with the girls, what are some of your earliest memories of wanting to support girls, apart from the work that your dad did and your mom did in the community?
I think one thing that inspires me to support girls, when I was doing my KCP, I ended up being the only girl and 2 other boys. So there was 3 of us. In grade 6 and 7, we were over 20. But class 8, only 3 of us registered for the exams. So one thing I noticed, now looking back, because as a kid, you don't notice such things. You just think, oh, it's normal. But now looking back, I realized the transition rate of children in my primary school was very low back then. And then I remember my best friend could not go to high school with me because she didn't get to grade 8. She got married at grade 7. And now looking back, I feel like I'm more motivated by those memories, knowing that education could have changed her life. And I still meet with her today. We are now women with kids, older kids, and we are able to connect. But at some point, I lost touch with her because now she was married at grade 7. I went to high school for 4 years. When you come back, she has 3 kids. I went to college for another 4 years. Coming back, she has 2 more kids. There was no point of us connecting, and it felt like our worlds just split apart.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that right now we've reconnected and we can now talk as mothers.
You've mentioned your best friend quite candidly.
Yeah.
And I would want to know, during those formative years, and you're very young, something this traumatic has happened to you. On top of it, FGM has also probably happened, yeah?
Yeah.
So it's very traumatic, and you're seeing a lot of your friends. You've lost a lot of friends due to circumstance. And you're now going to high school and things like that. How was those teenage years looking like for you, especially in terms of healing and even in terms of just putting thought into what is going on? Because you're alone somewhat, quote unquote.
Yeah. So after experiencing abuse, I mentioned that I became withdrawn.
Yeah.
And so I usually tell people my teenage years were a blur. I really don't have that many memories I can talk about. I just went through the motions. For me, it was do KCP, go to high school. Schools are closed, schools are open. Schools are closed again, schools are opened. And I went through FGM when I was in Form 3. At 16 years. The debate is that I later on found out from my dad that he didn't really want me to go through it. But the dilemma was my 2 older sisters had already gone through it. And my grandmother was insisting that you cannot cut 2 girls and leave the other 2. It's taboo. You just have to finish the process. If you wanted to stop, you would not have done with the older girls. And so he was in a dilemma. And for me, when I went through FGM, it was like, it's just another rite of passage, get done with it. I didn't understand the risks, or I didn't even think it was good or bad. At that point, I was just numb and just going on with life. Yeah, whatever happens, sawa. You want to beat me, when nichape umalize uende. It's one thing that abuse does, whether it happens at childhood or adulthood, it really takes away your humanity. So until a survivor finds healing, they're just a shell walking. So those years were just that for me. It was just, it's another day. Okay, tuendele. Oh, you're angry. Okay. And even my education was affected. I was a very brilliant girl, but my performance just kept dropping and dropping and dropping because there was nothing big to look forward to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've mentioned about Survivor.
Mm.
Would you say that in the work around FGM, child marriage and gender-based violence, you identify as a survivor?
Yes, I do.
And is there something you want to add?
I'm smiling because we had a session on women and gender-based violence, and we are being told to tick all the forms of violence you've gone through. And I just found myself ticking verbal abuse, yes; physical abuse, yes; sexual abuse, yes; emotional abuse, yes; economic abuse, like every kind of abuse.
Yeah. And have you always been upfront about being an FGM survivor in the work that you do?
I speak about the abuses I've survived because silence is the reason why they keep happening.
That's true.
Us being quiet about rape and child sexual abuse, us being quiet about economic abuse, us being quiet about... I even learned that there's another form of abuse called spiritual abuse.
What is that about?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Do you want to
Expound,
tell us?
please.
It's the abuse that happens in religious contexts.
Ah,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I had a bit of a different definition of what it is, but I think
What did
that's
you think?
definitely...
Witchcraft?
No, I didn't think witchcraft. I thought spiritual abuse is if you're like a Christian, if you identify with Christian beliefs,
Oh, okay.
and then you get together with someone
Who's
and
of a different...
yes, and they manipulate you or
Yeah,
gaslight
it's
you
still
into...
classified
it's
under
still
that. Yes,
classified.
yes. Even
Yes.
just the religious intolerance where you'll abuse someone because they're of a different religion, it falls under that context of spiritual abuse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I asked that question about survivors because I know before, especially FGM survivors who started being celebrated, I know a big number of them who are already doing the work would not upfront say that they are a survivor of FGM because of the backlash that they would get from the community, with the community asking questions such as, if you were cut, why would you want our girls not to be cut?
Yeah.
Is that something that either you have gone through or you've had other founder survivors speaking about?
Well, I'll speak about survivors not being willing to come out, then I'll answer your question about FGM. I think the reason why most survivors stay silent is that the shame of whatever they survived is put on them.
Yeah.
And I always want to emphasize, and I want to tell every survivor out there, do not take responsibility of what happened to you. Let that responsibility rest with the perpetrator. Give the shame back to the person who abused you, because you carry the pain of the abuse and then you carry the shame of the abuse that was done to you. Yeah. So on the issue of FGM, yes, every time I talk to mothers about not cutting their daughters, of course the first question will be, but you are cut.
Yes.
You are cut, you are educated, you're beautiful. Your life is thriving, so why are you talking to us about
You've
not
had children.
not cutting your younger sisters?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how do you navigate that conversation?
So I always, when we talk about FGM, I focus on two issues, because again, there's a danger of addressing a single issue. And FGM has been branded around the health effects of FGM, which is okay to bring it out because some women are really suffering because of the effects that came with going through FGM. But then we always forget the socioeconomic impact of FGM. So I focus on both. I tell them FGM is not just a violation of a girl's rights. It has lifelong health complications. But even as communities practicing FGM, we need to start taking into account the socioeconomic impact of FGM. Because we cut our girls. When you cut a girl, because of the traumatic experience, it affects her education, affecting her performance, affecting her transition. And some girls are not fortunate enough to go back to school. Once they are cut, they end up being married. So the whole productive cycle of that girl has been cut short. But talking about survivors of FGM, you do not perform at your optimum. You really don't give life your best. There's the trauma takes something out of you. And FGM, going through FGM, no matter the type of cut, is a traumatic experience that lives with you. And so the socioeconomic impact of that is that women leadership potential is muted. You could be a very brilliant leader, you could be a very creative person, but because it also affects your self-esteem and your body image, it limits how far you can go in leadership, it limits how far you can go in entrepreneurship. So we just have an average life. And that is the socioeconomic impact that we've not really talked a lot about enough when we are addressing FGM.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think I really like the inclusion of, it's not just the health effects that are, and I know a lot of messaging around FGM is on the it's on the health effects of FGM.
Yeah.
And recently we were in a conference, and it was a menstrual health, the economics of menstrual health, right?
Yeah.
And this was the exact same thinking, that it's not just about girls missing school. It's about what happens 5 years from now, because girls missed schools or girls had to access pads in a way that is not proper, right? So I really like bringing in the social, because a lot of times health is we turn a blind eye on health because, you know, it's an individual thing.
Yeah.
You're the only one who will feel pain during birth. You know, it's not very out there. And really bringing in the social, the economic impact of FGM, I think is really a great perspective to share with parents. And I think that's something that really truly resonates with them, right?
Yeah.
Mine is, you've mentioned the social impact, your personal story on being a survivor leader and how that was. Mine would be is for the people out there, because a lot of times people are like, why is FGM really survivor centered? Why is it that survivor leadership is essential? Because to me, that is such an essential part and component of ensuring that we get to zero. Yeah.
I think survivor leadership should be the center of addressing or even the conversation to end FGM, and for two reasons. Number one, when survivors speak out about their experiences, they are able to show the real picture, so that we stop romanticizing FGM as a rite of passage that girls go through to become women. First of all, a girl doesn't need to be cut to become a woman. That is a biological process. We are not in charge of it.
Who put you in charge?
Yeah, who put you in charge of that process? So just letting survivors speak so that the experiences come out, because women have been suffering in silence, dealing with effects of FGM in silence. And when they speak up, then they are met with shame. The second reason is, as a mother who is a survivor of FGM, mothers who have undergone FGM are more likely to put their daughters through it as well. And so if we don't bring these women into the conversation, and they already believe that there are benefits to FGM, or they believe that FGM is what they can do to the best interest of their child, because I'll speak for mothers when I say this. I don't think mothers put their daughters through FGM as a form of punishment or torture. And this is to detach it from the negative connotations of it's a barbaric act, it's a backward practice, it's primitive, just to remove the shame that has been labeled on communities practicing FGM. Mothers put their daughters through FGM because they are preparing them for the best outcome of life. And so it's very important to have them in this conversation so that they know that there are other ways you can prepare your daughter to have the best in life without having to mutilate her. So leaving survivors out of the conversation, then who is speaking about FGM if not the survivors? And what business do they have talking about an experience they have not gone through?
And I think, thank you so much for bringing out the conversation around mothers taking their daughters through FGM, because I know there is currently the ongoing campaign around the My Dear Daughter campaign, which is basically an anti-FGM campaign run by the Anti-FGM board in collaboration and partnership with multiple grassroots organizations and other independent organizations, where basically it's bringing mothers together so that mothers can have these conversations about saving their daughters.
Yeah.
Where we say that as much as men inherently have been labeled as the gatekeepers, that mothers also have a lot of power when it comes to protecting their girls. And I know it's a question that keeps coming up of, if a woman went through FGM and she has seen the grave consequences of FGM, why would she be taking her daughter through it? And I think you've really answered it really well. And I would also just want to add that when we don't have spaces for mothers, right? You continue just going through the effects of FGM on your own.
Yeah.
How would you ever know it's an actual effect of FGM
Yeah.
without
Exactly.
having these spaces where we are open and we are having these conversations and we are coming to the realization? Because that's the thing about abuse, right? A lot of times when you're in abuse, you don't know.
You don't even know you're being abused.
Yes,
Yeah,
until
because,
you're out of the situation and you're like, what was that?
How did this happen?
Yes,
to
what
me?
was that about? And also the issue about who best to talk about the conversation than survivors, because I know one of the things that is usually spoken around FGM is that women who have gone through FGM do not enjoy sex. And survivors say, okay, we hear where you're coming from, but is that entirely true? Yeah, so I think...
But you see what such statements do. Now that is doing harm. Because when you throw out a blanket statement like that,
yes,
you end up leaving women. Already you have your own bodily issues, but add a statement like that on top, and then you even now feel terrible about your body.
yeah.
So I know I don't like how my face look, but then at the back of your mind you hear women who have gone through FGM cannot enjoy sex. So it's another label of shame that has just been added on a survivor.
Even
which
more
is
reasons.
very unfortunate. And just to bring you back to your point on survivor leadership, I just want to ask you another piggyback question. Is where is the role of partners, allies, people within the space? Where is their role in, and how do you, as Seleyian, think where can they come in without taking ownership from survivor leaders?
I think I would like to, first of all, appreciate people who spoke up about FGM, because if someone from the outside the practicing community did not notice that there's something not okay with the anatomy of women from different communities, we would have never known that FGM was wrong.
Actually true.
Yeah.
Very true. Yeah.
And the people, the academicians who took it upon themselves to study the effects of FGM so that we understand that it has all these health effects, and the people who took up the stage to speak about it, starting the conversation is okay. But when you start, then don't hold the space. Open it up for people with lived experiences to
plug in.
Because I feel like one mistake we made with the anti-FGM campaign was that the fact that it wasn't survivor-led, and then it was mostly, for lack of a better word, I'll just use outsiders, coming into a practicing community and telling them what you're doing is wrong, is barbaric, is backwards. And there was a lot of hostility, even from the activist side, when they were screaming about FGM. And I feel like if the conversation was brought back and the communities were told, we noted that there's a practice here that is being carried out, and these are the effects, without the attack on the cultural identity and autonomy of the people, I feel like we would have ended this practice a long time ago. And one of the things that motivated Seleyian to come into the space, first of all, confession time, sisters.
Yes.
I was pro FGM.
Napenda.
You are?
Okay.
I was pro FGM.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What years?
Hey. Producer. Hey, cut the cameras.
What?
No, I need you to look at that camera, Seleyian, and tell us that again.
What happened?
Si bora msinirushie mawe. I said, please underline was.
Sisi watu
Hatutakusalimia pale.
I was pro FGM. And
what changed your mind?
what how I
And why
remember
were
it
you?
was, we were in high school, and then we were called into the hall. And then this lady comes. She's now my member of parliament, Agnes Barreyo. She's my namesake also. I'm not bragging, just saying.
Yes.
So she comes to school and with the models of our woman's anatomy, showing us how a cut woman and an uncut woman would look. At that point, I had already gone through FGM. So the reaction is what really made me defend FGM. I remember some of the girls from my community walking out of that conversation really angry. And then girls from non-cutting communities were like, what the hell? Am I allowed to curse?
Yes, you are.
What is that? Why would anyone do that? And so now, because having that conversation, I found myself defending FGM, telling them, my grandmother has gone through it, she's still alive. My mom has gone through it, she's had all of us. She's not even gone through CS. Because the focus again was on the health effects. And one thing about focusing on just the health effects of FGM, it feels like it's a lie. Because if you tell me I'll have difficulty in childbirth, I'm a mother of two, not seen any difficulty. What are you saying?
Yes.
So I was defending it because from my experience, everything they were saying about FGM was a lie. I didn't die. I didn't overbleed and die. Obviously, I'm
It's
here.
also that vilifying factor of making your community something that, especially at that age, is very close to your heart because it's one of the only things that you've known all through your life.
Yeah.
And then someone coming and vilifying it and making it seem like the worst thing on earth.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey,
What
bruv.
do you mean?
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Ati sisi ni watu wabaya? Because at that point, you're not rationally thinking in terms of, you're just thinking about, ati mumetuitaje?
Yes.
Kwanza, the term barbaric really triggers me to date.
Yeah.
That it's a backward barbaric practice.
Practice.
And now I'm quick to and slow to judge when a community is described as barbaric. I am not quick to accept that as a fact. I want to understand where they're coming from, what is their motivation. So you asked what the turning point was.
Yes.
When I started Murwa Girls, I was not focusing on end FGM really. My focus was education. And then now it was during my asking question, when did so-and-so drop out of school? They're like, oh, she got pregnant and dropped out of school. But then I would ask, when did she get pregnant? And the answer is always more like, oh, you know, after she was cut, a few months later she got pregnant and then she dropped out of school. So I had a direct link between FGM and early pregnancy.
Yeah.
And the other thing, because as I said, I'm a researcher, when we talk to schools evaluating students' performance, girls' performance will be great until a certain grade, and the performance start going down. So I would ask, what happened to this girl? At what age did girls start performing poorly? And then I could directly link that again to FGM. After a girl is cut, there's something that changes in their focus and concentration in school. And also they become more distracted because girls are cut at the age of, from between the age of 9 to 15 years. At that time, again, community believes that when a girl, my community specifically, when a girl is cut, now she's a woman. It doesn't matter whether she's 9 or 15.
Yeah.
As long as she's gone through FGM, now she's a woman. And so even the men who initially saw her as a child will now start talking to and addressing to her as a woman. So this girl becomes distracted. And it's at that point that I realized if I want to promote girls' education, then I have to address FGM as one of the barriers to girls' education.
Yeah, which is so sad.
Yeah, which is so. I'm on her side now, guys. I'm back.
You're back.
Yes.
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 Basi, so that I know you're not going to beat me after this podcast.
Atuta kusalimia pale online. Yeah, and two things, right? Number one, the idea about just back to the idea about framing FGM, just mainly around health issues, is a problem.
Yeah.
Because I bet you not, when you go to the community and say, stop FGM, because if you continue performing FGM on girls, they will die. And the community will ask you, who died?
We are here.
We are here. Whomst died. So that already drains your whole argument down the drain. Number two, and I'm guilty of this, And I don't know how this happens, right? So, you know, sometimes when we go, for example, to schools, we go to schools in counties that practice FGM.
Yeah.
And we bring girls together and we say, today we have come to speak about FGM. Most of the time when we lead the conversation, we demonize FGM. And that does something to the girls who have been cut, because we have girls in that same crowd who have already gone through FGM.
Yeah.
What is a proper way to go about this particular conversation when you're trying to create awareness around FGM and create urgency without demonizing it and making the girls who have already gone through it feel some type of way?
Well, I think now that you've spoken about demonizing FGM, I want just to go back to how the conversation was introduced with a lot of harm. There were films of FGM that were recorded. I see the cameraman looking at me. I'm not going to throw my shoes at you, I promise. So somebody walked into a room with a camera and recorded a child going through FGM. That thing really angers me to date.
Yeah, because
And there were several films that were put online, and the name was we want to raise awareness on this barbaric practice. So that's how the conversation came to the limelight. You filmed a harmful practice happening.
Yeah. So that you can use it to...
Yeah, and I think it's very important that we continue creating awareness about some of the ways that we are doing FGM advocacy and FGM campaigns that are not really helpful, but they're just driving the harm.
You're doing more harm.
Yes.
Yeah. So now those are the videos that were brought to raise awareness on FGM. And I remember sitting through an FGM session, won't mention the organization, and the first thing they did, I was with men and women. It was an intergenerational setup. And the first thing they did was play the film of a 2-year-old girl from Mali undergoing the cut. And you can imagine how messed up that room was. People were throwing up. People were fainting. And I sat down and asked the facilitator, who thought this was a good idea?
Yeah.
To traumatize people and shock them in the name of raising awareness. At that point, I was still a student, social work student, so I was there actually just taking minutes and writing a report on the activity. It's from that experience that I decided, yes, you've said FGM has all these health effects. I was also still too young to understand the socioeconomic effect like I do right now. So I wanted to join the conversation and look for a better way, because it hurt me to see a grown man crying. You know, our community, even me crying is a problem.
Yeah.
Let alone watching a grown man cry because of something that was shown to them. And so my first reaction was, this is wrong. We cannot be traumatizing. It's a form of abuse in itself, emotional abuse, to bring such a film to show the participants.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking about this little girl. A grown-up recorded a girl being mutilated. You didn't stop it.
Yeah.
You've not even covered her face or anything. It's her
thing
whole
is,
identity is
if you're
out there.
trying to raise awareness on this practice, why would you be filming instead of protecting this child? It really shows also, one way it's really bad, but also it really shows the kind of steps we've made forward in ensuring that, one, do no harm,
Yes.
and two, protecting, I do not like using the word beneficiary, protecting
The rights holders.
the right holders,
yes.
and just ensuring that they are good. And it's really reminded me of a topic that Val really loves. I don't know why she's not mentioning the language that we use, especially when we are talking about FGM and FGM programming. It's commendable that you saw that and you still supported to end FGM, because I think that would have really altered my brain chemistry.
Yeah. So I know Godano has mentioned about the do no harm. Now right now we have the do no harm and we have safeguarding, which has really even helped survivors to even come forward. There's all these safe spaces. I know that you've been part of survivor leadership training, right? And I know it's been a number of years ever since it happened. What would you say is the importance of having a lot more of these fellowships for survivors going forward? Would you say it's a program that worked? Would it be something that you would recommend, especially for women who are survivors and they want to come into the space, either as activists or as founders? Is it a fellowship or a concept that actually works? Because I know there's a lot of healing through that happens inside that kind of fellowship.
Yeah, I think one of my encounter now of a safe space where I could openly talk about being a survivor was when I was appointed as an NFGM ambassador. Funny enough, I was still not talking about FGM, but because I was talking about education and mentioning FGM as one of the key barriers to girls' education, I was appointed as an ambassador. And in that forum, we had other survivors and non-survivors who are allies. And we just had a session of mental health and wellness, talking about survivors finding healing and also redefining their identity. That forum really changed my life, because after that now I started holding dialogues on NFGM. I started doing workshops, training youths, and I realized that I can actually add FGM programming into my work so that we can intentionally talk about ending FGM. FGM comes out as a very sensitive topic. So most organizations who actually say they are doing end FGM work are not doing the actual work, because it's overwhelming to start.
It's hard.
Yeah, it's a hard conversation to have. And then you cannot see change immediately. Like, you will take a girl to school, they graduate, and you've seen change. FGM is a conversation we've been having now. For me, it's now 15 years just talking about end FGM. And I can confidently say that even in my village, I've not seen 100% eradication of FGM. It's still happening. And so having survivors come to the platform, and first of all, just finding healing. I mentioned in another conversation that I was an angry activist.
Yes.
You know, the kind that want to burn down villages? That was me. Yeah, that was me. I was full of anger, and I didn't understand the anger until I came into these survivor forums where we just get to talk, cry it out, hug each other. So most of our sessions were just serviettes are going round, because, and I realized there was so much unreleased emotions, and then doing the work and seeing more girls suffering, it just now translated into anger. So I will just blow up at any slight provocation. So these forums are very important, to answer your question. They are very important. They're actually central to the work that these women and girls and young women want to do in the community. I don't think anyone can do this work without a support system. And the survivor networks now become the support system that we get. And so, if you can't find any network of survivors, please create one. There'll always be women and young girls who want to join it. So if you can't find it in your community, then be the one to start it.
Yeah, because I know at the beginning you mentioned that healing has been a really great part of your current journey, and that you would suggest to a lot of the people who are coming into the space to find mental health support, just the same way you treat malaria is the same way that you need to treat your mental health. And you're a founder, right? And there's a lot of glamour around being an executive director. I'm a founder. Is it all glamour?
Well, the glamour is the tip of the ice. All you see is me dressed up nicely, glammed up by this girl sitting in front of a camera and talking about my work. Let me tell you what you don't see. You don't see the midnight panic attacks. You don't see the morning tears when you wake up in the morning and there is no funding. There are girls that need to be rescued. There are some that are in the education program that you need to pay school fees for. There is a team seated confidently in an office knowing that end month, the salary is coming. But you're looking at your bank statement and the balance is 1,000 shillings when you're lucky to have that as your balance. So I know entrepreneurship and leadership, people who have founded organization or businesses, are celebrated when they have made it.
Yeah.
When I say we've implemented 15 fully funded projects, I have not talked about the 20 others that we just had to bury because we couldn't find funding.
Yeah.
I've not talked about when those projects come in cycles, the in between when one project ended and the next one is yet to be funded and we have to close shop. I may have left Murwa Girls for a year,
Yes.
but we've closed our office at least 3 or 4 times, where I pack up our office furniture, take it to my house, give the landlord the keys to the office, and we wait until we get the next grant. So those are the realities of running an organization. Sometimes you are running on zero. Some of the founders I know, including myself, have worked for years without a salary.
Yes.
Like January to December, you've done the work, you're exhausted, you're tired. We've survived through workshops, so please call us for more workshops. Just invite any founders you know for workshops and pay them per diem, because that's how we've survived some days.
Yeah.
It's not as glamorous as it looks, and I have had moments where I feel like I'm shutting this thing down. I'm going to get a job. But when I remember then again that it's not just me. I'm not just shutting down on myself. There's a team I've employed. There are girls that are depending on this program. There are communities that are looking forward to us to train them and to equip them with skills. You just have to cry. When you can't cry anymore, you wake up, you eat, you shower, and you go to work.
And you continue.
Yeah.
And you know, one thing I had never really actually thought about is the fact that you actually have to pay people. So my first job after my internship was in a youth-led organization, and it's been around 4 years, so I know they have even grown even more. I just never sat down and thought that my executive director be getting panic attacks in the middle of the night because she can't
needs
pay
to
me at the
pay you,
end of the month. And all I always just thought about it, when is end month getting here so that I can
be
get paid? You know. So yeah, I think those are some of the realities of founding organizations, and truly conversations that we are particularly very key in bringing out in this particular podcast, because we know there's thousands of women who are looking to start organizations, have started, are stuck, they don't know what should really be guiding them. So it's really important to bring out that it's not just glamour. Manze, kuna masiku hata saizi with all those funded projects, there are days where I found myself wanting to give up. It's not a straight line. It does get better, I bet, but it takes.
Hope.
It's hard.
Oh, you hope?
Yes.
So it hasn't gotten better yet.
Get better kwako.
Hey.
Let me tell you one thing about entrepreneurship or founding an initiative, whether it's for profit or non-profit. It's not static.
Linear. Yeah.
So you start with one project. All you need to raise is 1.5 million and you're good for that year. Then you keep scaling. So there's a day you are crying because you didn't have 1.5 million Kenya shillings. Then there's a level you're crying because you need $1 million. So it doesn't
The
get
stakes
easier.
become higher.
Yeah, the stakes and the goalposts keep shifting higher and
'cause
higher and
you're
higher.
trying to, again, expand.
Yeah.
You're trying to add more counties, support more girls, bring more girls to school, provide shelter for some of these girls that do not have. Yeah. And I know you've really given us a laugh to say that the goalpost keeps shifting.
Yep.
Yes.
But the one thing that also keeps shifting is the financing within the space, especially the development space. Yeah. How is it to you as a founder? What if you were in a perfect scenario and you were seated with donors, maybe me and Val are now donors. Chatuchi.
Msema tukite workshop.
Munite workshop ndio nipe bills.
So that also, for example, if it's donors you're seated with or partners you're seated with, where would you want this financing like, how would you want this financing to look like for it to adequately support you as a lead, as a survivor leader?
Okay.
Or just really as a leader and as a founder, how is it that you're able to, because sometimes, and you can attest to this, at least I have managed programs, so I know that you can be given 10 shillings to do so much, but it's still 10 shillings.
Yeah.
You can't do, but they want to see social media, they want to see you going to the most interior parts of the community. So how do you think that would look like for you?
Yeah. So as I've grown in this field, I've discovered funding, different types of funding, two to be exact. There's project funding and then there's flexible funding. When I said we've implemented 15 fully funded projects, that is project funding. So let me explain for a young founder who's just coming up. When you get project funding, that money is meant to be spent on the project activities. So for example, it's an education project. You're sponsoring girls. You'll use that money to pay school fees. If you're doing school outreach, you use that money for transport to the schools, and maybe you'll pay the facilitators. What project funding does not fund is your organization development.
Which is
And
such
in
an
order to
important
get
part,
donors, you need an established
Organization
organization with structures.
with 15, 20 policies that I don't know who wrote.
You need to see
Hey, data protection,
Action,
asset
action.
registry. Hey,
An
yes.
you need to
M&D
have
system.
systems. Yeah.
In order to build systems, you need funding. But
yes.
project funding does not build your systems.
Yeah.
Some donors noted that gap, and when they fund your project, they try to build the organization capacity through training the founder and staff on different skills so that
Aspects,
they
yeah.
can build the systems. But my favorite donor, the one that currently has my heart, is the one that gives you flexible funding.
Yeah.
Because what flexible funding does, it builds the organization systems. It helps organization build financial reserves, another word I'm recently coming into. I was told organizations have reserves. I'm like, how do you build a reserve?
Yeah.
Because all I've known all these years was project funding. With project funding, you cannot build
Reserves.
a financial reserve.
Yeah.
So flexible funding now build organization. Project funding address a short-term project, but flexible funding build long-term sustainability for organization.
Yeah.
So if flexible funding helps you not to have a panic attack at night.
Actually, if I had 3 flexible funding, I will sleep soundly until morning.
At least you'll sleep and
Yeah.
you'll be able to wake up, have a cup of coffee near your window.
Yeah.
Like have these slow mornings Instagrammers show us.
Yes.
You'll be able to experience the sikilas muna mko ukipigana vita.
Yes,
I
you
bet.
have money to send someone to the field, but you don't have money for their salary at the end of
Yes.
the month.
Yeah.
So
that
that
is project funding.
Yeah, that is project funding. So I will, if I was speaking to donors, I will ask them, if you want to fund an organization, you can give them flexible funding, but if you want a specific outcome, then attach it to. I have a donor who's funding us. It's flexible funding, but they're passionate about climate change. So we've attached it to one project. So a percentage of that grant goes towards climate change programming.
Yeah.
And that is what has kept us going for the last 3 years, because they've been with us for 3 years. So we can clock it for them.
Yes.
But also that really just shows that for any donors that are watching or any development partners that are within the donor space or can influence financing, especially grassroots organizations need this flexible funding to be able to, at the end of the day, once a donor leaves, they're able to still sustain projects, because once projects end, these girls remain with us in the community. They still face us every morning, and they still need these resources to continue going up until a certain point, so that they are able to also return to the community and give some feedback.
Yeah, and I think that's a very important sentiment. I know there's gonna be young founders who are really going to learn a lot from this. And as we wrap up, we always have a punchline question for all our guest, what gives you hope in this work that you do?
What gives me hope?
Yeah.
Right now, seated in this room is just watching these two young ladies
Mm-hmm.
who have come into the space and taken it a notch higher with the use of technology. So what gives me hope is knowing that the work is not ending with me.
Yeah.
There are people coming behind me that are taking it up. And I am intentionally, consistently, and consciously mentoring the next generation of leaders.
Yeah.
A girl's girl for sure.
Intentionally, consistently,
And consciously.
and consciously, guys.
I'm sorry, nothing can beat the end of any other episode like that. I think can we patent that and be finished
And
all our
finishing
episodes
all
like that?
You can't, because I borrowed it from somewhere.
Thank
Yeah,
you
but-
guys so much for tuning in. Thank you so much, Seleyian, for coming in and sharing
Thank you
your
for having
story
me.
openly, funnily, and adding to the information and in the intelligence that is outside in the world, especially when it comes to FGM, for standing very strong on some of your concepts. And I know it's going to rub up a few people wrongly, but I think it's very important that we have those conversations.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you. Thank you, Sele, for literally everything Val has said, guys. Please watch the episode. I hope you enjoy this episode. Our guest, please follow her on social media. I think we'll leave her links on the bio. Just to her LinkedIn, her Instagram. She's an Instagram and a TikToker, guys. Please go follow her.
Yes. And as you've heard, Seleyian is very big on mentorship. So if you're a young founder and her story truly resonates with you, we hope that you get to connect with her on social media and she is going to offer you any type of guidance. I'm sorry, I've just plugged her without asking her, but she said she's a girl's girl. So
Yep,
I'm going to go with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Have a good one. See you on the next. Bye.
Bye.